Hey there, and welcome everyone to ES 215, Mapping to the 21st Century. I'm going to just give you a quick rundown of our Moodle site so that you can kind of navigate your way around. I'm posting this pretty early, opening up the course about a month early, so in hopes that you guys have some chance to kind of explore and ask me questions, and if you want, kind of start getting into some of the material. So this is a course taught right at the end of the summer. It's completely asynchronously, although I will say that I'm more than willing to set up regular Zoom meetings. And depending on interest, I could even have like a regularly scheduled Zoom lab time. After we get through the first couple of assignments, if folks just really feel like you want other students to work with on these different labs, or B, want to make sure that I'm available at a certain time every week, or a couple different times every week to answer questions. More than willing to do that as well. But my name is Jamie Trammell. I've already introduced myself on email, and I hope you'll go and explore. We're not going to click on this too much, but I have provided a little introduction to myself in a geographical way, because after all, this is a very geographical kind of class, right? And so I'm a faculty member in the Environmental Science and Policy program. Most of you are not in that program, but I've been there about 4 years, and I'm just now taken over as chair for the department. But I really specialize in this kind of stuff: digital technology, digital mapping technologies, everything from GPS and maps and interactive online maps to using imagery for analysis and models and everything. So this question, or this class, all revolves around these 3 questions basically, and it's a general ed science class, and I know that most of you are probably taking it for that, but so it's kind of important to realize that, like, there's 3 fundamental questions that that kind of are driving why you would ever want to take a class like this, and that's right down here. What's where? Why is it there? And so what? That's the geography. That's the science geography. That's a lot of what we're going to be talking about in this course is basically what is where, and why is it there? Why is something that we're interested in identifying there? And does it matter? Does it matter that it's there and not somewhere else, maybe? So so hopefully most of you have had some experience with Moodle and kind of know basic layouts and whatnot, but I'll kind of walk you through it. So we've got an announcements. This is where I'm going to be posting, anything relevant that I just want to either blast out to an email or make it a general announcement. There are numerous like training opportunities, free classes, seminars, all kinds of stuff related to this topic. And so occasionally I'll post those up if they happen to occur during the class. You're watching this course video, so hopefully you've at least gotten that far, right? That's there, and this is the geographical introduction that I was talking about. So if you go and you just click over here, this is what's called a story map, and you're going to get to know story maps really well, because that's the final product that you get to work on during this class, is a story map. And so I encourage you to go check this out, because it gives you an introduction to what a story map is, which is basically an interactive website that allows you to focus in on mapped things. And in this case, the introduction of like basically my life's journey, where I was born, through the places that I've lived, all based on kind of these interactive maps where you can kind of zoom out and pan around and say, oh my gosh, Colorado is such a cool state. Like, look how flat it is and how crazy rocky it is there. And it takes you kind of one step at a time, focusing in on telling a little bit of a story and showing a little bit of a map. So I encourage you to go check that out, because story maps are one of the key things that I'm going to be teaching you in this class. So all the course materials, all the basic kind of stuff is here. I've got a tentative, identified tentative syllabus set for this class here. And you kind of go through the basic description objectives, and there's no prerequisite, just some comfort with computers, basically. No specific software is required for this class, which is really cool. You get to do this all online, and we don't have an assigned, I'm not making you buy a textbook. I'm actually using this free online textbook that you can link through right here, so you can go and explore that. This is the ArcGIS book. ArcGIS is the software producer Actually, Esri, Environmental Systems Research Institute, is the software producer, but ArcGIS is their primary product. And this is the book that we're going to be using. So it's both an interactive website, but you can also download, not there, you can download the whole PDF up here, the interactive PDF. So this is where all of our readings are going to be coming from. So so make sure you bookmark that and you know how to access that. But it's freely available, so super easy. A bit on the course format, it's 4-credit-hour class. Granted, that includes lab time, so most of your time is going to be spent on sort of lab exercises. You can anticipate that. But there is obviously the reading, some additional assignments, some quizzes, and that sort of thing. Here's the computing requirements where I just highlight Microsoft Edge will not work. Windows and Macintosh, no problem. Just don't use the Windows or the Microsoft Edge web platform or web browser. Doesn't work. Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, you know, Safari, all those work out pretty well. Microsoft Edge just doesn't. So there's the breakdown of our assignments. I'm a learn by doing kind of person. I'm very much a kinesthetic and visual learner, and not at all an auditorial. So I'm actually not going to be posting lectures per se. Really, it's guided, structured kind of activities based on you know, some readings for the fundamentals, and then just time with the program. I've been doing GIS for 15 years, and I can tell you the single most important thing is that you get in there and you play with it. So you learn some foundation stuff, but really you're learning to make maps. You're learning how to actually create your own maps and the sort of the science behind it. So bulk of your grade is lab exercises, 35%. You'll have 2 to 3 of those every single week for the 4 weeks. And so that makes up 35% of your grade. The final project of a story map, as I mentioned, that's your final end product, is worth 20%. So this is an individual project where you actually get to create your own immersive website with maps, and I'll show you the details of that here in a second. Weekly quizzes at the end of the week, so just 4 of them, right? Covering the topics. Make sure that you're understanding the reading, that I don't need to post some additional resources or reach out. Make sure that you're understanding all the fundamentals that are important for the science behind mapping. Then there's some interactive or just some kind of community building exercises. One is maps in society forums. So I'll show you where that is. It's on the middle page, but basically throughout the term, you're going to be responsible for going and finding at least 1 or 2 articles where you kind of see evidence of maps being used. And this is not hard, right? I mean, you can probably imagine, especially over the last year and a half with coronavirus, it seems like we're always pointing to maps to help us understand the spread of the virus, right? And all the variants now. So Maps in Society Forum is really just to find, highlight, and then discuss the examples of how maps are being used in society today. Then you've got a reflection assignment where at the end of the term, at the end of the course, at the end of the 4 weeks, I've got some questions for you to answer. And this is a bit more of an informal type of assessment. It's still worth 10% of your grade for sure, but it's using an e-portfolio. And some of you may have used these or developed these already. It's using Google Sites, which is freely available to us. Don't worry, there's a lot of instruction if you haven't done anything like that before. But that's instead of me asking you, define this or show me that or whatever. It's more of a, okay, tell me what you actually retained yourself. What did you learn, and what's most valuable to you from this class? And so that's that reflection assignment. And then finally, online participation. So the Maps in Society Forum and online participation is really to create just a tiny bit of a sense of community. Even though we're asynchronous, even though it's all online, right? There's still an opportunity to kind of meet some of your other students and learn a little bit from them. So online participation is essential. This includes writing your weekly summaries, signing in to Moodle, participating in the forums, asking questions, all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so typical SOU grading scale, we have minuses and pluses here. So that's the breakdown of percentages so that you understand where your grade comes from. And here's our schedule. So 4 weeks, we're going to go fast, right? Here's the topic for each week. Here's the readings for each week. And then I've kind of got a goal based on the topic and the readings, and then you got lab assignments. So, right, location, and then working with GIS layers. This is not all the assignments. This is just the lab assignments. So make sure you regularly check Moodle to make sure that there's not an additional thing. Like, for example, this first week, I really want you to fill out a survey where you tell me where you're from, because why not? We're making maps in this class, right? So we're going to make a map, and I'll post out the results so everyone can kind of see where everyone's from. And then here we have all of our regular kind of statements. If you've taken a class at SOU, you know most of these pretty darn well. But we have certainly ones that are specific to COVID this summer. Responses, grievance reporting, code of conduct. We've got Turnitin, kind of plagiarism, software-based software now, so you need to know about that. Emergency notification, mandatory reporting, disability services, which I'll say if you have any kind of disability or you even just suspect any kind of disabilities, please reach out to me. Let me know if even if it's undiagnosed, like you just think you're dyslexic or you think you're, a slow whatever reader. Reach out, because I actually am. I'm a slow reader. I am dyslexic, so I can commiserate. I can come up with ideas and strategize with you to ways to make this a little better. And then our statement on non-active military. So kind of the basic rules of engagement here at SAU. So that's our syllabus. I'll go back to our main Moodle page here. I've got the book linked here as well, so it's not, you don't have to always go through the syllabus. You can always just go right here to the link right there. I have a basic Q&A forum, so anytime you have questions about assignments or grading, generally, right, not specific grades, but generally, or just random questions you have, like, hey, what the heck's GPS? Feel free to post it here. And if you're a student and you know an answer to another student's question, feel free to answer it. There is no reason to just rely solely on me. If you know the answer to something or have an idea, feel free to post it. I'll always try to get in there and post, but let's leverage crowd intelligence, right? So we have a couple term-long assignments. One is that Maps in Society forum that I was mentioning in the syllabus. So here it is, Maps in Society forum. I've got every single assignment you're going to see it laid out similar to this. I've got a purpose and a task and at minimum and criteria for success. So in this case, the criteria for success is twofold. You have to come up with at least one example that showcases maps in society, and you do that for the week that you're assigned. And then, and so when you're assigned for a week, you have to post that. So in this first week, the 4 here need to find a map or find an example, so find some sort of article or something. Write down the title, the source, and 150-word description of how or why the maps are being used to answer a question about where. I.e., you can't just like find an article that shows a reference map of whatever, the location of an oil spill. You have to understand, it has to be a map that actually like illustrates something about a question of where, like the spread of new variants. Why is it happening in these counties versus others, right? That kind of thing. So you need to do that for at least one of the weeks, or 1 week that you're identified here. But if it's not your week, you can still earn points, and you need to do this even when it's not your week. You need to comment at least on at least one of the article posted by your fellow students. So in this week 1, everybody over here could post on one of these articles posted by John, Noah, Peter, or Jacob. So make sure you do those 2 things. When it's your week, post an article with a summary and a place to find it and everything. And when it's not your week, please comment, respond, read the article from somebody else that somebody else posted and respond to it. Okay, so that's the Maps in Society. The Story Map project, that's the term project, right? So this term project is described here. It's a long description. I apologize, but I just want to make sure that everybody is fully clear on what the expectations are. We've got a purpose, which is basically you want to develop your own story map. You get to ask a question about where, something related to space and place. there are examples of, I mean, literally tens of thousands of story maps have been created. And so there's all kinds of opportunities to get inspired by the types of questions and the types of stories that can be told with the story map. So I'll show you that in a second. But that's the purpose. You're creating a story map. And I encourage you to read through this at your own pace. I go through the skills that I hope that you will learn through this assignment. We'll go through the knowledge that you're going to be gaining. And then I identify the various tasks. And these tasks are actually broken up over time. And so you'll notice this as you work through, ignore that week 5, as you work through the Moodle site, you actually see that these various tasks, the intermediate tasks, are due throughout the 4 weeks. And so here's the criteria for success. You'll be kind of working through this for the 4 weeks, but it has to have a clear statement of purpose, kind of a thesis or an abstract, depending on what discipline you're coming from, whatever you understand, sort of that fundamental like purpose for the story map. You're going to have at least 2 story maps showing different themes of data related to the story map, and at least 2 additional visual aids. So these could be pictures, or just make sure they honor copyright laws, graphics, graphs, or other videos like or other visuals like videos. Then you have to have a written narrative that steps through all the steps of making the maps and the visuals and the actual story, right? It needs to be written clearly without jargon, because it needs to be written for a general public. And then you need a list of references, at least 2, with the links, because this is the website. You can click on things and go find it. Science is all about transparency, right? So I've got a link here to the professional kind of story maps. I've got another link on the main page I'll take you to. You can also check out a couple of story maps that undergraduates have done in my previous institutions. And so go ahead and check out, because obviously professional ones are going to be a bit more time invested than just a couple of weeks and an intro class. So this gives you a little bit more sense of perhaps what might be a little more similar to what you're doing. And so these are the interim deadlines. I apologize that week 5 is showing up. That shouldn't be there. But you'll also see them show up in every single week in Moodle. So I've got some help resources too. I've got the story map homepage here. Keep forgetting, I can just click on that. So this is the homepage for ArcGIS story maps. This is the software you're going to be using. It's all on web-based, so it's nothing you have to download. And it kind of gives you a nice intro. I encourage you to read this really soon as you watch this video, honestly. Just to start wrapping your head around, like, what do story maps do? What are they about? Why do people do it, right? And they have some of their favorite stories here, or you can go to explore stories up here. But just to show you a real quick example, Sounds of the West, Acoustic Atlas. This is a story map. It's an immersive thing, right? You kind of have a nice big website, has a little bit of narrative, big, beautiful photographs. In this case, background music that you guys aren't hearing, but is very nice. And of course, some static maps here. And then some interactive maps later on. Sorry, I'm trying to get to those, but you get that sense. So that's kind of a story map. So that's one resource that I've linked up. I've also linked up an ArcGIS online help. So anytime you just have general questions about ArcGIS Online, because this is where you're going to be building maps. You have to build the maps before you put it into a story map. So I have this online help posted right there. And then I have signing into ArcGIS for SOU. So this is both as a PDF, so a quick how-to as a PDF. It's also linked as a video. So if you want to just watch me go through the process of signing into ArcGIS Online, you can go there. So that's all the front material, right? The intro material. And so just to show you week 1 as an example, this is generally how it's going to be structured. You're going to have an overview where I kind of just break down the basics of the week, the goals, things that I hope you're going to accomplish, that kind of stuff. a bit of a reminder of the assignments. Then I have all the readings and other resources. So, reading what is GIS, applying the science aware, importance of maps, and then I'll always link up the chapter 2, the chapter reading from the book that I showed you, this one. So there are going to be these additional resources, and you're going to want to read those as well, because that's going to be relevant information for making sure you know how to do these lab assignments. And that's where you'll see down here, lab assignments, things to turn in. So like I mentioned this first week, I'd love to have you click out this Getting to Know You survey. It's a simple, another map-based kind of thing, where I basically just ask you, what's your name, first name, last initial, class standing, declared major, and where do you consider your home? And then if you feel comfortable, I'd love to find out what your goals for the class is, even if it's just general education requirement. I'd love to have you think about what kind of goals. What do you want from this? If you're being told that you're going to be making maps, well, what do you want? What do you want from a class that teaches you how to make maps? I've got explore the map gallery here for the first week, and then I've got your 2 lab assignments, a spatial thinking assignment that brings in, that's the first criteria, first interim deadline or interim assignment that feeds into your overall story map assignment. I have your week 1 summary. So again, every single week you'll have something like this where I want you to write up just a couple of, like a paragraph, like a couple sentences, 4 to 5 sentences, no more than half a page, just describing what you did in all the assignments. So this just encourages you, because it's really easy to do GIS where you're just kind of following directions. And what this does is it encourages you to go back and think, well, what did I actually do? Like, did I learn anything? Like, what was that step that I did? Why did I do that? And so writing that succinct little 4 to 5 sentence summary kind of helps you revisit those things. So you'll have a summary every single week, and you'll have a quiz every single week. And quizzes are really short. They're like 4 to 7 kind of questions, really short. And I tend to give you about 30 minutes. Most of the time you won't need anything close to that, but if you need more time, let me know. And they'll be available from Friday morning till Sunday evening every single week. So kind of gives you that chance to, if you're working during the work week, you're mostly doing assignments on the weekend, you've got all the way till Sunday night to kind of work on stuff and take the quiz. So I definitely want you to take the quiz after you've done everything else. It's just going to make a lot more sense, right? So yeah, that's kind of the week in at a glance kind of thing, the overview of how the weeks are going to be structured. So hopefully that helps. If not, let me know. Drop me a note, an email, or whatever. I'm always happy to hop onto Zoom, and I can answer any questions.